Today, we're doing more than just talking about cybersecurity. We're going to build a digital fortress. We're diving deep into local area network security, or LAN security, to figure out how you construct defenses that actually protect our most valuable digital stuff from the ground up.
You know, we hear about these massive cyber attacks all the time. But have you ever stopped to wonder how they actually pull it off? It's usually not like what you see in the movies. We picture hackers just smashing down the front gate, but the truth is, it's often way more clever than that. So how do they really get in?
Well, when attackers do decide to smash down the front gates, the attack usually looks like one of these three things. A DDoS attack, that's basically a digital traffic jam, just flooding a website with so many requests that it completely collapses. A data breach, that's your classic heist, where they sneak in and steal confidential info. And then there's malware, like the infamous WannaCry ransomware. That's a hostile takeover, pure and simple, infecting systems and holding your data hostage.
To build our fortress right, we're going to follow a 5-part battle plan. First, we'll get a lay of the land with today's threats. Then we'll talk about guarding our devices, controlling who gets access. Then we'll pinpoint the network's single weakest link. And finally, we'll learn how to secure that vulnerable foundation.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1. Today's digital threats. Before you can build a fortress, you have to know your enemy. Okay, on to Section 2, guarding your devices. Our very first line of defense is the perimeter. I want you to think of your network like a corporate headquarters. First thing you got to do is secure the outer walls and the main gates.
And this blueprint right here shows our perimeter in action. So just follow the flow of traffic. Coming in from the wild, chaotic internet on the left. Remote users, they connect first through a VPN-enabled router, which creates this safe, encrypted tunnel for them. But the real bouncer at the door is the next-generation firewall, or NGFW. This thing is a high-tech checkpoint. It inspects every single packet of data, it controls which apps can run, and it stops advanced malware in its tracks before it even gets a whiff of our internal network.
So, once some traffic makes it past that main gate, our job's not done, not even close. Now we have to protect all the individual offices inside the building, what we call the endpoints. These are your laptops, your servers, your phones. And they are huge targets, especially for attacks that sneak in through email or just by browsing the web. That's where these specialized tools come into play. An email security appliance, or ESA, to scan and filter every single piece of incoming mail, and a web security appliance, or WSA, to act as a watchdog for web traffic, blocking malicious sites.
All right, Section 3, controlling network access. Now that the perimeter is secure, we have to decide who gets a keycard. And for this, we use a really important framework called AAA.
The first A stands for authentication. This is that moment you swipe your badge at the door. The network is essentially asking a very simple question. Who are you? It's the whole process of verifying your identity, with the username and password, to prove you are who you claim to be.
Okay, so once you're authenticated, we get to the second A, authorization. See, just because you have a key card doesn't mean you can open every single door in the building, right? Authorization is what determines your permissions. Are you an intern who can only get into the first floor, or are you the CEO with a key to the executive suite? The network decides exactly what you are and are not allowed to do. And the final A is for accounting, which is basically the digital security log. You know how a physical building logs every time a key card is swiped? Well, accounting does the same thing digitally. It records what you did, which commands you ran, how long you were connected, all of it. If something ever goes wrong, this audit trail is priceless for figuring out exactly what happened. So how does the network actually check these credentials? Well, there are really two main ways to do it. For a really tiny network, you might use what's called local AAA. That's where each router or switch keeps its own little list of users. It's simple, but just imagine trying to update one person's password on 100 different devices. It's a nightmare. That's exactly why bigger organizations use server-based AAA. All the usernames, all the permissions, they're all stored on one central server. It's way more scalable, manageable, and frankly, a lot more secure. Okay, moving on to Section 4, the network's weakest link. Now, this is where things get really interesting. We've built these strong walls. We have this slick keycard system. But what if the biggest threat isn't trying to break in? What if it's already inside? To really get this, we need to look at something called the OSI model. Now, most security focuses on the upper layers, from 3 up to 7, the ones that handle things like IP addresses and applications. But look way down at the bottom, at the foundation, layer 2, the data link layer. This is the literal wiring and the internal hallways of our network.
If an attacker can compromise this fundamental layer, all that high-tech security we've carefully built on top of it can be completely bypassed. And this quote right here, it just nails the problem perfectly. Layer 2 is considered the weakest link because it was built on a simple assumption: trust. Back in the day, LANs were private, trusted zones. We just assumed that anyone who could physically plug into a port was a friend. But today, with things like bring your own device policies, that assumption isn't just outdated, it's dangerous. And an attacker who's already on the inside can exploit this built-in trust in some really nasty ways. They can flood a switch with fake hardware addresses to crash it. They can hop between virtual networks to eavesdrop on traffic. Or they can even pretend to be a critical network service to launch a man-in-the-middle attack. And all of these attacks are possible for one simple reason: Layer 2 was designed to trust the devices connected to it.
So now for Section 5, securing the foundation. We obviously can't leave our foundation exposed like that. It's time to start locking the internal doors and posting some guards in the hallways.
This is how we fight back. These are specific features, our secret weapons, that you can enable on your switches. Take port security, for example. It limits how many devices can connect to a single port, which stops those MAC flooding attacks cold. DHCP snooping acts like a guard that only allows legitimate servers to hand out IP addresses. And then you have tools like DAI and IP Source Guard that stop attackers from playing dress-up and pretending to be someone else on the network.
And finally, securing the foundation also means securing the very tools you use to manage it. So always use encrypted protocols like SSH instead of insecure ones like Telnet. It's also a fantastic idea to create a totally separate network just for managing your gear so that regular user traffic can never even get close to it. And of course, use access control lists, or ACLs, to spell out exactly who is allowed to talk to your network equipment.
So the key takeaway from all this is pretty clear. A strong wall is absolutely essential, but it's only half the battle. Real security is all about defense in depth. If we just focus on that outer perimeter, we're leaving our entire fortress vulnerable because we're forgetting that sometimes the most dangerous threats don't bother knocking. They're already walking the halls.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. Every device, every port, every single user, each one is a potential door into your network. As we've seen, building a real digital fortress means a lot more than just a strong outer wall. So, let me ask you, are you sure all of your doors are locked?